Cecil Gabrah, good morning, and thank you very much for joining us.
Good morning to you, and good morning to your cherished listeners.
Great. So I believe you've been following the conversation. Now the LI has been withdrawn. But the key question is, how do we improve the traffic situation? Because that's what the members of parliament complained about in inserting that amendment where members of parliament and ministers of state and justices of the Supreme Court should have sirens fitted on their vehicles. How do we deal with the traffic situation?
Thank you so much once again. For me, I always say that we have failed as a nation to develop the transport system simply because we have failed to allow the bus rapid transit system to work. And I'll continue to say it. I am not a politician. This is what I do. To travel to other countries that have their population quite bigger than Ghana, like in India, Pakistan, even in China, they all rely on buses because it takes huge volumes of people to a place where it is much more easier for them to get there than queuing in vehicles, in traffic, to get to their destination. Now, let me put this fact down that my late dad was into construction, but he was the MD of the defunct State Construction Corporation. And he was Kwame Nkrumah's friend. One day I asked him, Dad, why do you have this big area in the middle of the ring road? He only told me that, look, during planning, it was reserved for trams, it was reserved for BRT, and so on. But what do we see now? And then the last is for expansion of the road, right? What do we see now? We have allowed, that is on the shoulder of this road, giving it out either to people to sell. Construction is ongoing. Every now and then, telecom companies will be digging, laying pipes, and so on. So the design is already gone, okay? It is gone. However, we haven't lost anything, and I keep on also saying that let's go and see what others have done. Now we have lost it. The vehicle population is still on the increase per annum, I would say between 5 to 10%. A lot of vehicles are being imported into this country because vehicles are no longer luxuries. They are needed by every person to move from point A to point B. But again, our roads are just the same. We have the same road from Adenta to 37. If you talk about access roads in this country are not being constructed with any speed. And so traffic is going to continue, and it will be on an increase every now and then, simply because we don't have any plan. We have lost it. Okay. Assuming the BRT is working, let's say from Adenta to 37, why can't we take one lane and then give vehicles to use the dual carriage and strictly be dedicated to the BRT? People will park their vehicles and then join, because whilst you are in your traffic, the BRT comes out. This is what I'm talking about. Segregated roads. We do not have it, my brother. So this will go on and on. The conversation will go on. And I don't see why the minister or the MP will not enjoy this traffic with us. And I'll get back to you again that my very good friend, the IGP, will not play his siren when he's going to work. And I see him almost every day where I live on the Spintex Road. He doesn't use any siren. He sits in his car. Sometimes, for security reasons, I wouldn't mention the color of the car. But then he sits in the car, and then there's another car following him as security. They stay in traffic till they get to wherever they have to get to. That's the police headquarters. Isn't that beautiful? So why can't we all do it? If we are doing it, then I'm thinking that the planners of this country will notice that, oh, yeah, yeah, the street will have a to ease the traffic and so on. But
Okay.
if they are going to sit in vehicles and then they are going for meetings in motorcades and sirens, then that is also quite scary because everybody will have to rely on the motorcade and sirens. For me, yesterday, I think I spoke almost to about 14 radio stations, including TV stations, and we are all happy that this cannot come on.
All right. There are people who have talked about, all these other commercial vehicles. We have lots of, Evans in the system, the trotro drivers. They're just not going to go away. So what happens to them? We just don't say, well, we're bringing in buses and that's the end. Something has to be done to them. How do we deal with them?
Well, already the vehicles they are using, okay, let me pick on one, like the Sprinter bus. Okay, for instance, I always talk to my family and friends that never sit in that vehicle because that vehicle was not made for human beings to sit in them. I always say that because if you look at the real buses that were made for passengers, it is longer and the seats are aluminium. That makes it quite lighter by itself. And then when you have people seated in it, it picks up with the right weight that has been calibrated for the vehicle. But here we are, those buses come to Ghana. I'm talking about the cargo type of vans and so on, what you call the Sprinter buses, the LT. And so they come to Ghana. It's been taken to a fitting shop, and then they weld angle iron seats in them, which is very heavy. So, in the first place, when it's on the road, the center of gravity will no longer hold. Is that what we are looking at? And we are still encouraging those vans to be registered as passenger vehicles. So, again, we had it wrong. They are already in the system. I will keep quiet. I wouldn't say anything, but make sure the BRT system works just like my very good engineer mentioned. If it works, then we'll have an automatic fade away from these buses. I am not saying we should destroy their business, but definitely they'll find their way. Because I am at a pre now. Unfortunately, I'm going to leave you very soon because I'm training about 600 tanker drivers, teaching them how to climb the hill and then descend with their gears. Right? So I may leave you, but what I'm going to say now is just simple that we should make sure that we follow a very good tradition to change our city. We can copy what is in Brazil. Brazil started in 1974. Today, you go to the cities of Brazil, and then you will not enjoy that traffic. Right? The strength of the system relies on planning, and then the idea that the public transport should ban. This is what we need in the country.